time to call your lawyer.
With a call to our lawyer and friend, attorney for the injured Bruce L. Scheiner. It's called Ask the Lawyer, in which we get a question answered, perhaps the one that you've submitted. And if you'd like to submit a question for future consideration, I'll tell you how to do that in a moment. First, though, let me remind you that what we're about to do is just listen to some general legal conversation. It's not meant to be specific advice in your specific circumstances. You see, for that, you need to sit down face-to-face with a professional and get some real advice. And some attorneys do offer a free consultation. I know Bruce L. Scheiner and Associates certainly do, so that's something you might want to take advantage of. That gets you that face-to-face that you need. In the meantime, we can certainly tell you to not make any statements. Don't let anybody record any statements, and do not sign anything until you've had some kind of a chat with a legal professional. So let's see what Bruce thinks of today's legal brain teaser as we bring on Bruce L. Scheiner at Kicks Country 92.9. Let's have a nice round of applause in his honor. And good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Todd. How's this week treating you?
Just fine. As we get closer and closer to the holidays, I feel a certain sense of momentum building, don't you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the turkey. It's my favorite meal of the year.
Absolutely. It's amazing how that starts the whole thing off, and it's so good, and then things get so hectic very quickly. But we won't worry about that quite yet, especially when there are other things to worry about. For example, a very significant problem with this particular question that we want to ask of you. If you're ready, I'll just read it to you, and you can dive right into it.
I'm ready, Todd.
All right. It says, my friend's father was sitting in the rear seat of a car that was involved in a significant crash. The car was a rental car. As a result of the crash, the seat back gave way, causing the death of my friend's father. The party that caused the crash had minimum coverage. The back seats were the type that fold down to give additional storage space. And that's really all that it says, but I think there's enough there for you to certainly give us some thoughts.
Yeah. First of all, to get out of the way, there's always the uninsured motorist coverage to check into.
Okay.
As we often discuss. So if he or a member of the family had uninsured motorist coverage, that's one avenue to pursue. But the important thing is, and it's interesting because our firm is handling a case like that, is that the rent-a-car company has a duty to make sure that the latch that holds the seat in place is latched, and it's important that they have a checklist to ensure that they check the latch.
Oh.
And in addition to that, and we don't know without having the vehicle inspected, there could be a defect in the design of the car as far as how the latch works or doesn't work. So there's a potential claim against the rental car company, and there's a potential claim for products liability against the manufacturer of the car.
It's funny because sometimes these manufacturer defects, they make national news and everybody knows about them. And then sometimes, like this, it may go unnoticed for a long period of time, right?
Yes, and there's a lot of cases, where the seat back actually breaks and it wasn't designed correctly, or there's so many things in vehicles that you don't know until something happens. That's why it's so important, if it's a serious crash, to contact the personal injury lawyer and let him investigate all the different avenues.
Now, if it turns out that there's some signs or belief that it is a product liability issue, that's when you're really starting to get into some big-time, I'm going to say expenses, in the sense that you're going to have experts and engineers and all kinds of people weighing in on that, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. They're very, very expensive cases to prosecute.
But the good news is, if you go ahead and go with your firm, for example, then it's not going to cost you anything up front. That'll all be taken care of when you win the case.
That's correct. And you have to contact a firm that has been around a long time and has substantial finances, because it could cost $250,000 to prosecute the case, and you have to have an attorney that can afford to lay out those expenses.
Right. So definitely do the research appropriately, but do see somebody who's a professional in this area, because this could end up being a very complicated situation.
Absolutely.
All right, Bruce. Well, sad, of course, for the loss of life here, but hopefully there's a brighter future once somebody gets involved that knows what they're doing with this. Thank you so much for weighing in on this one today. We always appreciate your good advice.
Well, Todd, thanks for producing such a challenging fact scenario.
Well, it's a pleasure. Look forward to talking to you next week.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up, please, for Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured. And now let me tell you how you can submit a question for next week or for some week down the road. If you've got a legal question, maybe something that's personally affecting your life, or just a question you've always wondered about, simply go to our website and look for BLS, Bruce L. Scheiner, on the homepage at kickscountry929.com. And we will take it from there. In the meantime, if you'd like some immediate help, and waiting around to see if your question gets answered on the radio may not be what you need. You may need something more immediate than that. Why not call the Port Charlotte office of Bruce L. Scheiner and Associates at 941-743-7777. 941-743-7777. One more time, that's 743-7777. Promise they'll take good care of you. Tell them that Todd sent you from Kicks Country 92.9.